Hello everyone, welcome to ATN. I'm your host, Salman Dillon. Now for any artist, it's a thrill to perform in front of an audience. Now imagine being handpicked to perform for an audience of millions around the world, and one of those audience members just happens to be the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji. Sounds thrilling, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to my guest today. And to give us all the details, she's joining me right now in studio. I'd like to welcome Niharika Tuknik here. Well, congratulations, my dear, and welcome to ATN.
Thank you so much.
I can't believe it. And, I was telling you before we started, I was there when Modi ji was welcomed here in Canada.
Right.
And I remember watching your performance. I remember being like, wow, she just makes this look so easy. You know, the moves you're making, and then afterwards you started speaking to the audience. I'm like, that girl's really, really good.
Oh,
so
thank
I'm
you.
so glad that you're here. Now,
Thank you.
I'm sure everyone's like, Prime Minister of India comes to Canada, first official visit, very big deal, right? Not many people ever get the chance to be in the same country as a Prime Minister, and we got the opportunity, but you had the opportunity to actually have him watch your performance. So how did that happen? How did you get chosen to perform for him?
Yeah, so obviously his visit was on really short notice. You know, it was, people weren't even sure if he was coming.
Yeah.
And it was all over the place. And when it was confirmed, I emailed NEIC, and I guess they figured that Modi ji is really, he's an advocate for yoga, and they thought maybe it's a really good idea to have someone perform yoga at the event. And they watched a couple of clips of mine, and they thought that I was good enough to perform. So they were pretty welcoming, and it was great.
But what was it about the Prime Minister that made you really seek out to perform for him? Was he always the top of your bucket list, and you thought, you know what, there's certain people that I would love the chance to perform in front of, and he was one of them?
Actually, I never really thought about it. A couple of months ago, I was in the talks with his instructor to maybe go and learn from him, and then, hopefully...
from the Prime Minister's actual yoga instructor?
Yes, he...
Wow,
yeah,
that's actually really cool.
He's based out of Bangalore, and he teaches Modi ji pretty often. So that connect was there from the start, but I never really thought that I would get to perform for him. So that was really out of the blue. It wasn't something I was really planning.
But see, this is what's interesting, because I feel like, for me, when I'm doing a live event, usually, you want to pick an audience where you're not going to get nervous.
Right.
And so there's certain people I get nervous in front of, right? For example, if my mom is there, I get nervous. Or when my friends come, there's somebody, really important to me. I'm like, I want them to really enjoy my performance. So that you put pressure on yourself. And I feel like the Indian Prime Minister, you think, I have been chosen out of so many people, right? We have a lot of talent here. I've been chosen to perform for him, and I really want him to like my performance. So, weren't you nervous?
I actually, right before I went up on stage, I was really, really nervous.
Oh boy.
And then when I laid out my mat, I just stepped on it, and I just thought, just forget that anyone's here. It's just in my family room. I'm practicing like I was for the last 2 weeks. And just perform like I'm just practicing. And it went pretty smoothly, and I was really happy with it. So I really wasn't nervous once I got up on stage, and I just did it.
So when you're actually on stage, can you see 10,000 faces staring at you, or hopefully is it dark? What was it like?
Actually, no, I really could see it pretty much. When I was performing yoga, I wasn't looking at anyone. I was just doing my performance. But when I started speaking to the audience, that's when I started noticing people, and that's when it hit me that there's 10,000 people here watching me, and how big a deal this really is.
And not to mention the millions of people that are watching online and on television, right? Because so many Indian media outlets were there as well, and of course the Canadian media, everyone was covering it. Because it was a historical visit, so no big deal, right?
No big deal.
No big deal. Did your family in India or any other places watching?
Yeah, actually all around the world. I've got family, everywhere, from the Caribbean to Europe and everywhere.
So they all tuned in?
Yeah, they all tuned in, and they were all really, really excited for my performance. And my grandparents in India as well.
Oh, that must have been so special for them, right? They probably think our granddaughter's in Canada. What are the odds that she's going to actually perform for the Indian Prime Minister, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal for them as well, because they're actually the ones who introduced me to yoga 13 years ago. So they never thought that, you know, a couple of classes a week, just in the morning, doing yoga, and then 13 years down the line, she's performing yoga for the Prime Minister. So that was pretty cool for them as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so once you were confirmed that you're going to perform for the Prime Minister, how much time did you have to actually put together your performance?
Honestly, it was like 8 days or something.
That's not bad. 8 days.
Yeah, it really wasn't. So I was putting in about 5-6 hours of practice every day. You know, I was waking up at 5 in the morning and just working through it and doing my stretches, and I just really had to get that routine perfected. And it's weird because, you know, when you're usually practicing yoga, you don't really think that you're going to have to add music to it and make it into a performance that you can do in front of 10,000 people and millions watching all over the world. So it was really interesting for me to have to, you know, weave the whole dance, music, yoga thing into one. So that took a bit of time as well. But it went well. So
okay, so then talk to us about the performance. So I know you're a yoga teacher, so you're used to leading classes and other audiences, but I mean, this is like different, right? Like you're mentioning, you got to make it a performance. So how did you come up with it? Did you have help?
My dad was pitching in ideas, and I was watching a couple of YouTube videos, and then I came across Nritya Yoga, which is basically dance and yoga combined into one. So I started watching a couple of those videos, and I got a few ideas off of them, and then obviously my own asanas, and somehow I managed to weave it all in together. But it was,
Very cool. Okay, well, we want to hear lots more about it, including how you are introducing yoga to everyone in Canada. But we got to take a little break. So, folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to ATN. I'm your host, Amin Dillon, and still chatting with the very talented yoga extraordinaire, Niharika Tuknight. All right, so we were just talking about before the break. You got to perform for not just anyone, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. That's a moment you're going to be able to tell your kids and be like, you know what, your mom, she did this. So, you know, we talked about you putting together the performance. You had 8 days, rehearsed for like 5-6 hours. Talk to us a little bit about, you know, from the beginning to the end of your performance. It was yoga, so you've got the traditional poses, but then you also have dance, right? So, and the dance, I mean, dancing is hard enough as it is, right? So you're like getting, you know, worked up, you're starting to sweat, you're getting out of breath, but then you still got to have that stability of performing moves, and then you have to talk after. So just talk to us about that. Like, how did you kind of make sure you had the stamina?
So I've actually been learning Bharatanatyam for the past few years as well. So
you're just super talented. There's nothing you can do.
So I was able to draw from that as well. And then the whole yoga thing, obviously you have to focus a lot on your breathing. So I was making sure that, you know, I wasn't just wasting my breath. I really had to hold on to it. And then once I picked up the mic, I just, you know, paused for 2 seconds, caught my breath, and just spoke. And
you got like 10,000 people to follow you. Like I was telling you, I was sitting with a lot of other media folks, like Canadian media. I remember when you were telling us to stand up and do some moves, they were trying. And we were like all crowded together. We didn't have room. We had our like, you know, notepads, taking notes, and people were trying. So isn't that amazing?
That was, you know, when I was watching the audience participating with me, I just, honestly, I can't even describe that feeling. It was the most humbling experience of my life. I'm probably never going to be able to do something like this ever again.
And if I remember correctly, you got us to all do a group as well at the end, right?
Oh man, that was...
And you could hear it in the crowd. Like, you know, it's one thing to have you, like, you can hear you say it, but then I could actually hear it in the crowd. I was like, people are doing this.
Yeah, I mean, you could feel the positive vibrations and that's just something you can't really put into words, and it blew my mind. It really, really did. So.
Of course. So after you were done your performance, what did you do? Did you get to come out and watch right away, or were you like, I gotta take some time, I gotta like lay down and recover?
I was just so excited. I was honestly bouncing off the walls. I went back to the dressing room and I just took it all in, and I realized what just happened, and that nothing went wrong. Everything went well. So I was really happy, and I was like, okay, now I'm just not going to think about anything. I quickly just changed my regular outfit, and then I joined my friends. So
and then of course Modi ji was there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're thinking, okay, like you felt good about your performance, but I'm sure you're like, well, did he like it? Because he loves yoga.
Yes,
right. He incorporates yoga. I think every day he does a little bit of meditation.
He only sleeps for like 4 hours a day, and he wakes up.
So you want to make sure that he likes it. So what did he think about your performance?
So I actually just missed him by 2 minutes, not even. So that was a bit disappointing.
When you say you missed him, meaning what? Like he came backstage, or
no? There was a reception after, and I walked in through the door, and then I just saw him exit through the other set of doors. So that was a bit sad because I would have loved to meet him and get to know what he thought in person. But later overnight, I guess my friend in San Francisco, he was following Modi's tweets, and he came across a tweet that Modi ji mentioned, and he said, I love Niharika's performance. So,
and he said your name.
Yes, he said my name. So I think I got to know what he really thought, and that was just amazing. It was really amazing.
Very cool. Now you can forever put that on your business card. Be like, liked by Modi ji.
Perhaps.
So after that, did you take part in any other part of the visit, or did you get any other opportunities?
Well, I mean, obviously a lot of people started approaching me after the performance, but nothing related to Modi's visit.
Yeah, so I mean it was a quick visit. So maybe next time when he comes back,
hopefully. Actually, he just the next day I think he was visiting the Air India Memorial.
Yeah,
and that's just by my house. So I stepped out.
Always so close.
That's so close. I actually saw his car go by, and I was really hoping maybe I could catch him.
Yeah, invite him over for dinner, cha.
Absolutely, but it didn't happen.
Okay, so we were talking about your performance, but you're no stranger to yoga. You've been doing this for many, many years. So how did you first really get into yoga and fall in love with it?
Actually, I used to live in India before, and when I used to go to school there, I think I was in about 4th or 5th standard or grade. And we were learning yoga in school, and I think everyone hated it then.
Why?
Just because, we thought we were being forced to do this, and we were kids.
Rebels.
Totally. So I really didn't enjoy it then, and then my grandparents started bringing a teacher home, and I started learning from him. And then over time, I think I just really started enjoying it, and then I moved to Canada in 2003, and in 2007, Baba Ramdev ji visited Toronto, and he had this huge event with thousands of people, and I actually got to perform on stage with him. So I was doing yoga beside Ramdev ji, and I think that was when everything took a turn, and he was really encouraging, and he really appreciated my yoga, and I think that's when I realized that maybe this is something that I could do.
Yeah. What is it about yoga that just really connects with you?
Actually, I play a lot of sports. I'm pretty athletic, and when I started doing yoga, I saw how it was helping me with my sports as well, and my academics, and I.
But how does it help you?
So mentally, I think I'm a lot more stable. I was, I wasn't the best student, and I wasn't very good at studying. But once I started doing yoga and I started waking up, my teacher used to come at 5 in the morning. So I had this regime set, and I would wake up, and my concentration started getting better, and I was getting more flexible, and that was really helping me with my sports as well. So I think overall I just started seeing a difference slowly, gradually, but there was definitely a change that I could see, within myself.
And so then what made you go from, okay, I'm going to incorporate yoga into my own life, to now being like, I want to share this love with everyone else because you're a teacher now. So how did that decision come to be?
So in 2011, I was visiting India, and it was my summer break from university, and I just decided to quickly do a teacher training course at the Yoga Institute in Mumbai, which is the oldest organized institution in the world. And I just thought I'd do it for fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I started teaching, friends and family just for fun, and they really started appreciating how I was teaching and how it was helping them. And they said, why don't you further this and make it into a career. And I really thought about it, and I got involved with the Art of Living, and I was visiting their ashram, every year. And I did the Vipassana course, which is, like the art of silence. And when I was quiet for those 10 days, I realized that, because I had to introspect and I really had to think about where my life was heading. And I think during those 10 days in Bangalore is when it hit me that this is actually what I want to do, and I really, really enjoy it. So
very cool. Of course, we're going to talk about how you're making an impact. You're actually working with all businesses to help them transform their whole workforce. So we're going to talk about that, but we got to take another little break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ATN, folks. I'm your host, Sam Dylan. Still chatting with Niharika Tuknight. All right. Yoga. Prime Minister Modi ji is a fan. We know that, so I think all of us should be a fan, right? He's a very busy man, a very stressful job, and he really has spoken about the benefits he has received performing yoga every day and meditating. So you are a yoga teacher, and you are now actually working with companies. You were telling me before the break, you actually go in and really talk to companies about incorporating yoga with their employees. So at lunchtime especially, you're coming into their workplace and helping them. So just talk to us about that. How do you do that?
So actually my dad is in the corporate line, and when I was growing up, I noticed how hectic his life was.
Your dad, you were telling me he flies around a lot, right?
Yeah, long haul flights, flying to India a lot.
Yeah, you have to sit for many
Absolutely.
hours.
So that's when I started realizing that how important it is for corporate people to incorporate yoga into their lives, and I started experimenting on my dad, teaching him a few asanas to practice on the flight. And
was your dad open to it? Was he or was he like, I'm a business guy?
No.
I need this.
No, he was really, really supportive. In fact, he's been so supportive through everything. And so I started experimenting on him, and then together we came up with the concept of cafe yoga, which is
cafe yoga. Okay.
Cafe yoga, yes. So I go in around lunchtime, and we kind of turn the office cafeteria into a yoga oasis, and just do a couple of asanas either on the chair or even on the yoga mat. Either works. So that's really picking up now, teaching at a couple of big banks and consulting companies. So that's really picking up now. It's going good.
So do you find that the attitude right now in corporate Canada, I guess, is that they realize that their employees, they've got to have that work-life balance and, encourage them? Because like I was saying, when you're working, unless you have that opportunity to have that hour to do yoga or go for a walk, you're not going to do it on your own, right? You kind of sometimes need someone to be like, you have to do this. So do you find the attitude is they're really open to having someone like you come in?
Absolutely. I think now the whole the mindset's changing, and a lot of big companies, even smaller companies, are really focusing on workplace wellness. So it's good for me. I mean, I get the opportunity to go in and teach. So they're really opening up to this whole idea of bringing corporate wellness into their companies. So that's going good.
Fantastic. Okay, so now you've had this year already. I feel like has been a great year for you. Of course, we got lots more months coming up, but I feel like you've had a pretty good year. Safe to say, probably a highlight. Modi ji, what are your future plans? You're still in school, right?
Actually, I just finished. So
congratulations! You graduated. So what are we hoping to do?
Well, in the near future, I'm focusing on a couple of niches. One is corporate, and the second is sports. Like I mentioned, I play a lot of sports. So I want to weave yoga into the whole sports line. I'm actually in some primary conversation with a couple of big sports teams like basketball teams and hockey teams in Canada. So that's a big step. Obviously, nothing's finalized, but I'm hoping to incorporate, bring in yoga into the whole sports field. So that's one. And second, I think in these next few months, especially this year, I just want to focus on getting my name out there, and next year hopefully I can open my own studio. So that's the focus right now. That's where I'm heading.
Very cool. So if people want to like get in touch with you or follow you, where can they do that?
So I've got a website. It's www.getfitwithniharika.ca. So they can check out my website. I've obviously got a Facebook page and a Twitter page. So that's Niharika Yoga. And if they want to contact me, then they can do it through the website.
Fantastic. Okay, so before I let you go, maybe one piece of advice for people that want to incorporate yoga into their life, but they're like, I'm not really flexible, like maybe they've got some health issues, and so they're a little bit nervous. So some advice.
I think most people, they're afraid to go into a yoga studio because of, they think that it's going to be a competitive environment again, but that's totally what yoga is not about. It's just finding yourself and exploring how far you can push yourself, whether it's physically or mentally. So I think start off slow, even if it's just looking up YouTube videos and going easy with a couple of small asanas like Surya Namaskar or like Vripsasana or something like that, and just meditating a little in the morning. I think that goes a really long way.
And I think I remember you saying at the performance, Om, like how I remember you made all of us do it, and afterwards you're like, don't you feel so calm? And I was like, yeah, I do.
Absolutely. I think the whole auditorium then was just so serene. I mean,
and it's so easy. Like anyone can just like take a couple seconds, literally I think it was seconds, and just chant Om over and over again.
That helps so much, and I think it'll really help them just during the day, during the week, and just overall.
Yeah, or if you're in traffic. Traffic especially, and you're getting a little frustrated, just take a few moments and just be like, Om. So remember that.
Totally.
So fantastic. Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you
so
much.
Exciting. You're so young. You're starting your career, and you already have, I think, like the person to perform for, right? You had Harper G. Actually, no, you had 2 prime ministers there, so a little one. So that's great.
Thank you.
Looking forward to following your career.
Thank you.
Folks, if you want to get some advice or follow her, make sure to check out her website. Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks so much for watching. I'm your host, Dylan, signing off.